The Frank Sutton Mystery, finally solved and isn't good. Frank Sutton was born Frank Spencer Sutton on October 23, 1923, in Clarksville, Tennessee. Growing up during the Great Depression, Sutton demonstrated a strong interest in acting from an early age. While still in high school, he appeared in student productions and local theater, where his passion for performance became apparent. Despite economic hardships, he remained committed to his dream of becoming a professional actor. After graduating from East Nashville High School, he pursued his ambition by enrolling at Columbia University in New York City, where he majored in drama and graduated cum laude. His dedication to the craft was evident early on, and his academic achievements underscored his deep commitment to personal growth and excellence. However, like many young men of his generation, Frank Sutton's life was dramatically shaped by the events of World War II. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, Sutton attempted to enlist in the U.S. Marine Corps, but was rejected due to color blindness. Undeterred, he joined the U.S. Army and served with distinction in the Pacific Theater. As a member of the 293rd Joint Assault Signal Company, he participated in 14 assault landings, including the invasions of Leyte and Luzon in the Philippines. His military service instilled in him a deep sense of discipline and patriotism that would later influence the characters he portrayed on screen. He rose to the rank of sergeant and was honorably discharged after the war, an experience that forever earned him the respect of fellow veterans and fans alike. After returning from the war, Sutton resumed his acting career with renewed determination. He worked in both theater and television throughout the 1950s, gaining a reputation as a versatile character actor. His early TV appearances included roles on programs such as The Edge of Night and the United States Steel Hour. One of his most memorable early film roles came in 1955, when he appeared alongside Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine in Marty, a critically acclaimed film that won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. Though Sutton played a supporting role, his performance helped cement his credibility in Hollywood as a serious actor. Despite his early success, Sutton found his true breakthrough in the 1960s when he was cast in Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C., a spin-off of The Andy Griffith Show. As Sergeant Vince Carter, Sutton played the gruff drill instructor constantly exasperated by the well-meaning but bumbling Private Gomer Pyle, portrayed by Jim Nabors. The chemistry between Sutton and Nabors was electric, and their on-screen dynamic became the centerpiece of the show. Audiences were captivated by Sutton's ability to blend stern authority with moments of vulnerability and humor. His portrayal humanized the archetype of the strict military man, revealing layers of compassion, loyalty, and even affection beneath his character's blustery surface. The show aired from 1964 to 1969 and became a cultural phenomenon, drawing millions of viewers each week. Sutton's performance earned him a place in television history, and his catchphrases, especially the booming "Peel," became part of the American pop culture lexicon. More than just a comedic foil, Sutton brought a sense of realism and authenticity to his role, no doubt informed by his own military experience. His portrayal resonated with service members and civilians alike, making him a beloved figure during a tumultuous era marked by the Vietnam War and changing attitudes toward the military. After Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. ended, Sutton continued to work in television, theater, and commercials. He often took on guest roles in popular shows like The Twilight Zone, Gunsmoke, The Untouchables, and Love American Style, showcasing his dramatic range. Though he never achieved the same level of stardom as during his Gomer Pyle days, Sutton remained a respected and admired actor among his peers. In his later years, he focused more on stage work, performing in dinner theaters and regional productions across the country, where he continued to entertain audiences with his boundless energy and charisma. After the popular sitcom Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. ended its production run in 1969 after 5 successful seasons, Frank Sutton remained a familiar face on American television, particularly through his continued professional association with his former co-star Jim Nabors. Sutton transitioned into a regular role on the Jim Nabors Hour, a musical comedy variety show that aired on CBS from 1969 to 1971. This show marked a change of pace from the military setting of Gomer Pyle, offering audiences an opportunity to enjoy Nabors' operatic singing talents along with comedy sketches that retained the charm and humor of the earlier sitcom. Sutton, alongside fellow Gomer Pyle alum Ronnie Schell, was a key contributor to the show's comedic segments, often appearing in humorous skits that showcased his well-honed timing and expressive range. In these sketches, Sutton frequently portrayed the brother-in-law of Nabors' character, allowing him to once again play off Nabors' more naive and genial persona, much like his dynamic with the character of Gomer Pyle. However, this new context gave Sutton greater freedom to explore different comedic tones, often leaning into domestic or situational humor rather than military strictness. His performances demonstrated his versatility and ability to shift seamlessly between stern, authoritarian roles and more light-hearted, familial comedy. Sutton's presence on the Jim Nabors Hour helped retain the strong fan base he had built during his time on Gomer Pyle U.S.M.C., and the show itself enjoyed favorable ratings during its three-season run, thanks in part to Sutton's strong comedic chemistry with Nabors and Schell. Outside of television, Sutton expanded his acting repertoire by delving into live theater, particularly in the popular format of dinner theater, which flourished in the 1970s. This venue allowed him to connect more intimately with audiences and showcase his skills in a live setting, away from the constraints of television scripts and shooting schedules. Among the many roles he played on stage, one of his most notable performances was as the father in Norman, Is That You?, a groundbreaking comedy by Ron Clark and Sam Bobrick. The play dealt with themes of generational conflict and homosexuality, a bold subject for its time, and Sutton's role required both comic flair and emotional depth. His portrayal of the bewildered but ultimately loving father offered audiences a glimpse of his ability to bring sincerity and vulnerability to a part that also required sharp comedic instincts. Critics often praised his stage work, noting that his energy and charisma translated exceptionally well to the intimate, interactive environment of dinner theater. In addition to his work on Nabors' show and the stage, Frank Sutton also made guest appearances on a variety of other television programs during the 1970s. These roles allowed him to break free from the typecasting that sometimes followed his iconic portrayal of Sergeant Vince Carter. He took on parts in dramatic series and sitcoms alike, demonstrating a range that surprised audiences who primarily knew him from his military persona. Whether appearing in crime dramas, family series, or anthology programs, Sutton brought a distinctive intensity and professionalism to each role. These appearances helped him maintain a steady presence in the public eye and affirmed his reputation within the entertainment industry as a dependable and talented character actor. Throughout this period of his career, Frank Sutton continued to be admired by both audiences and his peers for his tireless work ethic, dedication to his craft, and his ability to make any role, whether comedic or dramatic, feel authentic and memorable. His post-Gomer Pyle years reflected his versatility and determination to grow as an actor, securing his legacy not just as a television icon, but as a dynamic and accomplished performer across multiple mediums. In 1946, Frank Sutton married Toby M. Eigler, a talented and ambitious woman who would go on to make a name for herself as a writer in the television industry, particularly in the realm of soap operas. Their union marked the beginning of a lifelong partnership that would endure through the many highs and lows of Sutton's acting career. Toby, who had a deep love for literature and storytelling, brought both emotional intelligence and intellectual depth to their relationship. Her work in television writing required a creative mind, discipline, and perseverance, qualities that mirrored Sutton's own approach to acting. The couple supported each other's professional aspirations, with Toby often offering valuable feedback on Frank's performances and career decisions, and Frank, in turn, providing encouragement and admiration for her writing talents. Together, they built a stable and nurturing home, even as Frank's career often required him to travel or work long hours on set. They had 2 children, a son, Joseph Joe Sutton, born in 1951, and a daughter named Amanda Sutton. Joe would follow a creative path similar to his parents, becoming an accomplished playwright and drama professor. His works often explored intense human emotions and social issues, and he credited much of his artistic sensibility to the household in which he was raised. A home filled with a love for the arts, critical thinking, and expressive freedom. Joe's most notable play, Voir dire, was produced on Broadway and dealt with issues of race and justice in the courtroom, earning critical acclaim and reflecting the kind of layered storytelling that both his parents appreciated. Though Amanda Sutton remained more private and did not pursue a public career in the arts, she was an important member of the family and a source of strength and continuity. Family life was extremely important to Frank, who, despite his tough and often gruff television persona, was a deeply affectionate and devoted husband and father. In interviews and conversations with colleagues, Sutton often spoke with pride about his wife's intelligence and his children's achievements, emphasizing that his proudest role in life was not that of sergeant. Vince Carter on Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C., but that of a father and husband. The marriage between Frank and Toby lasted until his untimely death in 1974, a testament to their deep bond and mutual respect. Toby never remarried, and in the years following Frank's passing, she remained fiercely protective of his legacy, ensuring that his contributions to American television and his memory as a dedicated family man were not forgotten. Their enduring relationship, built on love, creativity, and shared values, left a meaningful legacy for their children and for those who knew them. For decades, fans of actor Frank Sutton were left puzzled by the sudden and unexpected end to the life of the man who famously portrayed the hot-headed yet lovable gunnery sergeant Vince Carter on the classic 1960s sitcom Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. Sutton's booming voice, rigid posture, and impeccable comedic timing made him a fixture in American homes and a beloved presence on television. But behind the scenes, Sutton's personal life and untimely death were cloaked in mystery. Rumors circulated, half-truths were repeated, and over time, the facts became distorted. Now, with new information and a clearer picture finally emerging, the truth has been revealed, and it's far from the heartwarming story many fans had hoped for. Frank Sutton died on June 28, 1974, at the age of just 50, collapsing from a heart attack in his dressing room moments before he was due to go on stage for a performance of the play Love in Shreveport, Louisiana. For many, this seemed like an incomprehensible tragedy. Sutton had always appeared full of vitality and strength, the quintessential tough guy with a heart. But in reality, his health had been quietly deteriorating, masked by a demanding work schedule and a deep dedication to his craft. Sutton had long struggled with health issues that were exacerbated by years of heavy smoking, a poor diet, and relentless stress from performing in both television and live theater without much rest. Despite his outward image of discipline and energy, Sutton had been warned by doctors about his cardiovascular health. Yet he continued to push himself, believing that the show must go on. In fact, many of those closest to him later revealed that he had been ignoring warning signs for years. Frequent chest pain, shortness of breath, and bouts of fatigue that he would brush off with his usual tough guy demeanor. Rather than addressing these health concerns seriously, Sutton chose to conceal them, fearing that showing weakness could jeopardize his career or tarnish his reputation as a strong, commanding figure. This decision, in hindsight, proved to be tragically fatal. Adding to the sorrow is the revelation that Sutton's death could likely have been prevented. Recent interviews and documents uncovered by biographers show that Sutton had been advised to undergo cardiac testing and treatment, but he reportedly postponed it multiple times due to work obligations and a desire to avoid public scrutiny. The idea of appearing vulnerable, especially after portraying a larger-than-life military sergeant, was something he deeply feared. Sadly, this fear kept him from taking the medical steps that may have prolonged his life. Moreover, his final days were filled with intense pressure. After Gomer Pyle ended, Sutton sought to reinvent himself on stage, eager to prove that he was more than a one-note comedic actor. He took on demanding theatrical roles, often touring across the country with minimal rest. While audiences were delighted to see him live, Sutton was reportedly exhausted, working grueling schedules and performing under conditions that placed immense strain on his body. Friends recall that he was running on sheer willpower in the days leading up to his death. The heart attack that claimed his life, it seems, was the culmination of years of unchecked physical decline and emotional exhaustion. To make matters worse, his sudden death left his family and colleagues reeling and unprepared. His wife, Toby, and their 2 children, including son Joe Sutton, who would later become a successful playwright, were devastated. They were unaware of just how serious his health issues had become. Those close to him have since expressed regret and sorrow over not recognizing the signs earlier or urging him more strongly to seek help. What remains is a painful what if. What if Sutton had sought treatment? What if he had slowed down? What if someone had intervened? In the years following his death, some fans speculated about hidden illnesses, addictions, or deeper personal struggles. But the truth is more sobering and, in many ways, more tragic. Frank Sutton was a man who poured his heart and soul into every role he took, often at the expense of his own well-being. He was driven by a need to prove himself, to keep working, and to meet the expectations that fame had placed upon him. In the end, that very drive, the quality that made him such a compelling performer, was what also contributed to his early demise. Now, with the facts laid bare and the veil of mystery lifted, what remains is not just sorrow for a life cut short, but also a cautionary tale about the dangers of ignoring one's health in pursuit of success. Frank Sutton's story is a reminder that behind the laughs and the applause, even the strongest performers can be silently suffering. And in Sutton's case, the mystery behind his death isn't just heartbreaking, it's a sobering lesson that may finally bring